Let's bring in Kimberly Halkett, our White House correspondent, who's also been listening to that long address to the press. Took questions as well. Kimberly, the Secretary of State also saying leverage on Iran will continue to increase and Iran will continue to weaken, and they need to make a sensible choice.
Yeah, the U.S. president has put forward his Secretary of State as his spokesperson, giving a bit more clarity in terms of what the United States is doing in the Strait of Hormuz. And what you heard there, the headline, is that Operation Epic Fury is now Operation, as he called it, Economic Fury. And the United States has really shifted towards the program the U.S. president announced on Sunday, which is Project Freedom. Now we understand a little bit more what that entails. The Secretary of State there saying that essentially it is a bubble that the United States is creating to allow commercial ships to transit the strait, protected by U.S. naval and air assets. Now, what we also know is that the Secretary of State made no apology for what the United States said would be necessary if Iran did not allow the United States to conduct its operations. What they say is that they are trying to restore the sort of freedom of navigation, as he called it, but if Iran is to strike on any one of the U.S. assets or one of the commercial ships transiting the strait, the United States would react and reserves the right to use deadly force. Take a listen.
This is not an offensive operation. This is a defensive operation. And what that means is very simple. There's no shooting unless we're shot at first. Okay, we're not attacking them. But if they're attacking us or they're attacking a ship, you need to respond to that. You're not going to let some fast boat come up on a ship and shoot it up. We're going to respond to it, and we've been successful at it. I don't know what the exact number is, but I know a number of those fast boats have now been targeted, and will continue to be if they pose a threat to our forces. We'll shoot down drones, we'll shoot down missiles, but it's defensive in nature.
Now, what the Secretary of State also said is that the United States is essentially helping global nations, some that have spoken up publicly, others privately, in order to get their stranded ships through the strait. The Secretary of State accusing Iran of committing what he called economic arson. And as a result, the United States says that it is helping those global nations, but at the same time said at some certain point they will have to take over. Now, in terms of the diplomatic track, the Secretary of State also addressing that, saying that the Middle East envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff still working on that. But for now, what Iran needs to do is make what he said are concessions in order for there to be productive talks.
Right, Kimberly, thanks for that. That's our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett there.